So BET founder, the original founder of BET, Bob Johnson, he's calling for African Americans to receive $14 trillion in reparations for every descendant, he says, of African slaves as atonement. He called because of the death of George Floyd. He stated, "Is $14 trillion too much to ask for the atonement of 200 plus years of brutal slavery, de facto and de jure government sponsored social and economic discrimination, and a permanent emotional trauma inflicted upon Black Americans being forced to believe a hypocritical and unfulfilled pledge that all men are created equal?" Johnson said in the statement. He said, now his press release included a link to a paper that advocates for $350,767 for every Black person in the United States. He said he also advocated direct cash payments over the next 10 to 20 years. Now, Bob Johnson, he supports Donald Trump. He is a Republican, and he's calling for reparations. I take no issue with the brother calling for reparations at all. There are Black people that are Republicans, and I get why they're Republican, because when you get to certain levels of income, you're going to probably want to lean toward Republican, but most Black people are socially conservative anyway. We are. Don't even go to the continent of Africa how conservative they are. Trust me, I've seen it. Certain things that Black America do wouldn't even fly over there in a continent just due to how conservative their society is. But he said, because he's weighing in on the protest, it was going on with George Floyd. Now, he says, demand that those be charged in the case and presented to a court of law, and that the court render the appropriate verdict and punishment. He said, that has been my answer. So every tragic situation like this, and regrettably, it will be my answer when this happens again, and most certainly will. Now, that is, unfortunately, America. And as long as we live here, if nothing's fundamentally changed, I'll repeat that, if nothing's fundamentally changed, if the status quo stay what it is, yes, it will happen again. So he stated that his wife and himself feel tremendous sadness in their hearts and praying with the families of George Floyd. He said Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and all communities ripped apart by violence. Okay? So this is the thing. Reparations will close the wealth gap for sure, but reparations will not cure the heart of the evil of racism. It won't. Because this is what happened. And not that I care it happens that way, but I know it happens. Let's say if that happens, you get $350,000. Those folks will be so mad because you got $350,000 and they didn't get one. They'll be so angry. They'll be, oh boy, it'll be so much problems with that, with how these folks are, because they don't want you to have not even 2 cents more than them. Even if it's owed to you, that's what they don't want. My thing is, you better, if you get reparations, just my opinion, you better take your money and head on to the continent with it, because you got enough money at that point, buy a house, buy land, buy whatever else you want to do with your money, and you live in peace. Because if you stay around these people and they're going to give you hell, they're going to sabotage, they're going to do everything they can to try to rob you of your money. So trust me, $350,000 is a good going away gift. And I know a lot of you will say, yep, man, give me $350,000, I'm out. Because you don't even need that amount of money to live in the continent. You can get to some countries and build a house with $40,000. So it depends on how you live, of course. You can build a house $80,000 and it's your house. No property taxes, no nothing. You're good. You understand? So yeah, it sounds great. But like I said, the way these people are, like I said, they just, the level of shaitani that they have going on, you know, like I said, that'll be a miracle in itself. I'm not holding my breath for it. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing, but my plans continue for what they are. Because like I said, some people say, well, I need to get mine before I leave. I say, look, if you want to be on the continent, they can direct deposit your reparations in your account. Just like they direct deposit your stimulus check, they can do it to reparations. So that's why I tell them, look, if I'm already over there by that time, look, go ahead on and deposit my reparations in my account. I'm good. That's all I need. I don't need to be here to get nothing. Because listen, we live in a global system now. Everybody's connected. I was in Kenya, Ethiopia, and I had an issue with my bank at any time. I got in contact with them real quick and it was no problem. So if that's the case, If I can get in contact real quick with a bank right here in the U.S., I can definitely get my reparations deposit in my account. There's no excuse. You don't hold your life up waiting on these people to give you a dime. Please. You're lucky you got that $1,200 from them. It took a pandemic for you to get that. So in order for you to get reparations, it's going to take probably worse than that. You know what I'm saying? So don't hold your breath on that. You got to continue to fight and do what you got to do. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the situation with Bob Johnson. Like I said, it's, I would say 17 trillion. I wouldn't say 14. But hey, whatever it is, and they can pay it. They can pay it. They print money, guys. They can pay you tomorrow if they want to. They can print up $14 trillion and hand it to you. But for the simple fact that they just, they don't want you to have nothing. I mean, I don't know how much more that we need to know that we're not liked, we're not wanted, and we're the most hated. And they show it constantly. Look at Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. We look at Philando Castile. We look at George Floyd. I mean, pick a name. They'll let you know the position, how they feel about us in this country. But the thing is, do you understand that? That's the thing.